from that point, our hostage negotiator talked from, I guess, 6:19 to 8:02. During that time, almost 2 hours, we tried to establish a means of communication, which they're taught to do so in hostage negotiations. Time's always on our side. You try to take it out to the whatever length of time it's gonna, take it. We don't know. Sometimes it's gonna be 5 hours, 5 days, 5 minutes. We just don't know. But there was a determination made at some point because this man ended all communication with our guys. He did not. He just ceased to talk. I think there were several comments and revelations made by Mr. Bean along the lines of y'all gonna have to kill me or something to that effect, and he was very intent on that. That went on and on and on. During this time, there was a throw phone that they usually use in a hostage negotiation situation like that. And from what I understand, from Haley's initial contact on the cell phone where they said, "Are you Haley?" and she said, "Yes," and that was all they heard. They did not get a whimper, a crying, or anything over the telephone. They do not know if she's hurt, if she had expired at that time. We did not really know at the time what we had. I will say that we do know that on 207 prior occasions, our special operations team has been deployed. We have sought out a peaceful resolution all 207 times, to the point that no one's life has been taken. On this particular occasion, after 30 or 40 minute span of time where there's no communication, this guy has ceased all communication, and we're concerned about the welfare of the 17-year-old girl. A determination is made by a number of us that we're concerned about the girl. We need to go in and end the threat. There was a flashbang that was deployed on the front door of the residence, the rear door of the residence. Our special operations unit gained entry. They went down the hallway. I think the last bedroom on the left was locked. It's my understanding that the man, which is the 25-year-old Mr. Bean, and the 17-year-old were in a sitting position in the corner. This man, upon our point guy making entry into the bedroom, there was some people would refer to it as a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun. From me looking at the shotgun, it appeared to be a short barrel pistol grip 12-gauge shotgun, but it was described to be at her head. Our guy then asked to see his hands, and at that time there were approximately, from what we've been told, and this has been turned over to ABI, in all there's approximately 6 to 7 rounds that were fired. All of these rounds that were fired were expired in possibly a second to a second and a half. On our end, it's a 40 caliber weapon. On the Mr. Bean's end, he discharged 1 round from a 12-gauge shotgun. The shots that were fired were, as can best be described, as simultaneously. The people that I talked to there at the scene said it sounded just like simultaneous firecrackers going off. You could tell one distinguished, I don't know if y'all have heard a gunshot from a shotgun as opposed to a handgun, but there's a distinct difference. But all these were basically right in the same breath of time there. But we do know and expect the evidence to show that the 12-gauge round that was fired from Mr. Bean's shotgun is what caused the death of Ms. Wingard, and the gunshot wounds that Mr. Bean suffered, that he died from those rounds, came from one of our special operations unit guys. Soon after, minutes later, immediately called Alabama Bureau of Investigation. They came on the scene a short while later, and the investigation's been turned over to them. After conferring with them, we told them it was obvious that there would be several immediate concerns. As for the relationship between the 25-year-old male and the 17-year-old female, it's my understanding that they were boyfriend, girlfriend there for a while. It had ended. I think from what I understand, the girl ended the relationship. The 25-year-old Bean was having a hard time dealing with that. We have spoken with family members on both sides, and I know that it was a tumultuous relationship. I don't know if I made reference to the fact of the 11-year-old that was there in the room. She actually left right prior to all this starting, and she actually had some zip ties and some duct tape on her. I don't know if I.
Who was the 11-year-old?
She was a cousin of the deceased 17-year-old girl, Miss Winger. She was a cousin.
Did this happen at her home?
No, good question, Brian. This happened at the home of the 17-year-old stepfather, and I believe that is where she lived.
Correct.
Yeah, that is where the girl lived, but she lived with her natural mother and her stepfather.
Were there anybody else in the house besides the 11-year-old, the suspect, and Haven? At the time all this was happening, was it just those three?
When the call for assistance comes out, I think all we've got in the house at that time is the 17-year-old and the 25-year-old. Now, it's my understanding that the stepfather had been at home a couple of hours before this, not knowing what was going on in the back bedroom. He merely saw the bedroom door shut and did not think anything about it, from what I understand. It wasn't until the 11-year-old exited the room and came outside and saw him that she told him what was going on, and then a 911 call was made to the Wetumpka Police Department asking for help.
And what was going on?
And the 11-year-old told exactly what was going on in there.
And what was going on was the beginning of the hostage, or they're fighting or arguing?
As to the words used and the story told by the 11-year-old, I think that would probably best be told by the ABI. It's somewhat bizarre, but I think it would probably best be relayed to you from ABI.
They would usually comment on the case. What do you mean by bizarre?
Well, it wasn't as if they were just watching TV and she left. But as far as the specific details and all, I just, we had actually asked ABI. They knew that Wetumpka was going to be asked several questions. We've got to respect their jurisprudence in the venue of them working the case. But we told them, hey, fellas, we're going to have people to ask us several questions. Got any problem? Let's talk to the media. They said, well, we can't. We're not going to come in until we get through our investigation. But y'all feel free to tell them what you need to. But there's some, I would say, intricacies of the case that I just wouldn't feel comfortable telling you about.